as you know, guys, we have teamed up with teamwallart.com. Absolutely fantastic. They make fantastic metal plaques, as you can see here. Everton, a good Everton badge. You've got the man himself, James Rodriguez, there for all of our Colombian fans. They do worldwide delivery. Let me say that again. Worldwide delivery. 10% off with the discount code BBN10. And if you get on the website now, you'll see different plaques ranging from $7.99 with some down to $5.99. So get yourselves over to teamwallart.com using the discount code BBN10, because honestly, you have no idea how much it helps the channel and helps a family business grow. The link is, of course, in the description below. Get yourselves over to teamwallart.com now, guys. Buy yourselves a plaque.
What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and I'm here with Alfie, who obviously started Everton now, and channel's doing really well. Flying, he's using TikTok more, he's using his Instagram, he's absolutely smashing it in. And in the short space of time, you're just around 300 subs, aren't you?
Yeah, we're like around 315, and since January we've been bossing it really. So thanks for having us on.
Nah, mate, it's the least I can do, and it's important for me because obviously I like to get other fan channels on, and I like to help out if I can. So any of my guys who are watching me now who are subscribed to me, go and subscribe to Alfie. Go and give him a hand. Boost his subs. You know, let's see if we can get him up to 500 by the end of March, for example, guys. Let's go and subscribe to his channel. That would be amazing. And guys, obviously, as you've just seen, teamwallart.com, absolutely fantastic. Desperate for orders. So if you can order, guys, BBN10, it's really, really key. It's really, really important. And just to sort of make this bold statement, it's incredibly important to the channel. The relationship we've got together is one that I need for the plans of the channel to continue long term, but they do need a few more orders, guys. And I just wanted to show you how it comes. Comes in a proper cardboard envelope in polystyrene. Then the plaque is inside, and I've chosen to have the Everton badge just here, sellotaped in nice and tight. Metal plaque, lovely. So, Alfie, the reason you're here, let's talk about Everton's ridiculous home form. Seven defeats at home. 7. I don't think I've ever seen it be that bad. And I'm older than you, and I've never seen any success. So it's even probably harder for you to see it being this bad. But what is it? What's going on?
I know everyone's missing the fans, but we seem to be bossing it away from home well better. And last season we were awful away. It's turned on its side basically. We were great at home, but we're not consistent, aren't we? You see, we've lost 7 at home from the last 11 or 12 Premier League games. Something like that sinister. It's absolute all over the place. We need to be consistent like Leicester, because they've got Maddison and Barnes. Our buffer's still firing in goals. 5-0 against Sheffield United. Then they got 2-1 win against Brighton, where I thought Brighton should have won that game. But look, they're very consistent. They got 6 points and they're a top 4 contender, and we should have been there, but we haven't been consistent enough.
Do you think, not that obviously this takes any of the home form away from the issue, but do you think the players have got an issue playing at Goodison? Not necessarily just without the fans, but almost like they haven't got the pressure on them. You know, when a player plays at Goodison Park, they know that the crowd is going to be with them or against them at times, you know, because if you're playing poorly, the crowd are going to tell you. We've done it over the years. Do you think that the players not having that push is probably affecting the players when they walk out onto that pitch at Goodison?
It's a good point, well made, to be fair. I think we are missing the fans. I mean, everyone is. But the likes of James, we haven't, no fan in our area and everywhere who's Evertonians has not seen James play at Goodison Park or anywhere. even with the 2,000 fans, like, no one's seen him. And he hasn't experienced it with the likes of Alan, Decore. They haven't experienced it. It's mad to say because we thought, well, I think Alan and Decore's obviously played in front of the fans, but especially James, he hasn't. But I think we are missing the fans because obviously we are the People's Club and obviously we like to get a good shift in with the fans. So it's a good point well made. But our away form's exceptional at the moment, except that Chelsea defeat 2-0. We were going unbeaten since November, and it's just been amazing. But our home form, we need to switch it up and turn it into our away wins, because if we add them two together, we could be top 4 already. But this is the thing.
If you think about the games Everton have lost at home, I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody at the start of the season would have said to me, Everton are going to be 6th in the league on 28 games played at the end of last season, I would have took it.
Definitely.
But that doesn't stop the disappointment of losing games at home to Fulham, Burnley, Newcastle. We also lost to Newcastle away from home as well.
Leeds.
But we've also Leeds, West Ham, if you want to throw them in there.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. You know, it's not good enough. You know, that's 15 points Everton have essentially thrown away from games that on paper at the very least we would be confident in winning, and we haven't done that.
Yeah.
We bottled it, and that's the only thing I can say about these games is we bottled them. The Burnley game was an absolute disgrace, and it's taken me pretty much the entire weekend plus Monday to get any form of getting over it. And actually, it's even more worrying when you actually break down all of the stats around Everton this season, because in away games, we're 4th in the league. Fantastic. In home games, we're 16th. And out of the games we played at home, in 83% of them, we've conceded a goal at home. It's shocking. And
it is.
I was going to come back to the way that we play football, because you would say that we play very different at home than we do away. So when we play away from home, in my opinion, we seem to play quite tight, difficult to break down teams on the counter. We did it twice against Liverpool. We did it against Manchester United. We've been good in the air from set pieces. We've scored 13 goals from set pieces this season. At home, we seem to press more, but that seems to leave more gaps. And do you think the way that we set up different home and away is a big issue?
I think we should be playing with the same style, in my opinion. But hopefully when we get all of these players, what people have been saying, 100 million on world-class players, what Carlo's going to get us in the summer, I can't wait. I literally can't wait, because hopefully, yes, we've got Decore, James and Alan, who has been amazing this season. Don't get me wrong, a little bit of iffy moments, but recovered so well. James has had a hard time, obviously, with the fitnesses and the injuries he's had. Decore, he's been non-stop since like 2 games. I think he's only missed, hasn't he? Like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
And Alan obviously had like a month's worth of injury or something like that. And then 5 yellow cards. So it's been tough for them to enter in the Premier League. Obviously, Decore's had the experience. But if we're looking at it, if we could have beat Burnley, Chelsea dropped points against Leeds, and then West Ham lost against Man United.
Tottenham lost to Arsenal.
Exactly. If Everton would have beat Burnley on Saturday night, we could have been 2 points behind Chelsea with a game in hand against Villa away. But we threw it out the park, haven't we? We just, I hate it, man.
But we've done it. We've done it so many times that's happened. You know, we beat. I remember we beat Chelsea, we beat Leicester away, we beat Arsenal, and then we lost to West Ham. We had the opportunity of going second. We lost to Newcastle at Newcastle. You know, Everton. As much as we have improved and we've got results at ground like Spurs, we got a draw at Man United, we beat Chelsea at Goodison, we beat Liverpool at Liverpool. I still think there is a bit of a mental issue at Everton in terms of the mentality element. Yes, we are a good side, but we're not brilliant. You know, let's. You mentioned Leicester earlier, and it's a good point to make about Leicester. Whenever you look at Leicester's midfield, there's one word that stands out for me: creativity.
Definitely.
And when you take James Rodriguez out of Everton, can you really say that our midfield is creative at all?
No.
There's nobody in the mid.
We've got Decore who's box to box. It depends what formation, obviously. Alan sits back, doesn't he? Sometimes pressures. Who else? Tom Davies. He drives with the ball and obviously comes back in defence. So he's like a Decore type of style. There's no one like James who can ping crosses left, right, and centre. Obviously, like you said, we've got no creativity in our midfield, and Rich Allison can't play on the left, in my opinion. He plays.
He's a forward.
For me.
He's just I mean, for me, I think he's proven. He's proven that he's a centre forward. He scored a lot of his goals last season as playing as a centre forward, and the games he scored this season, he's played as a centre forward. So, yeah, I completely agree with that. So, you know, when you break down a team like Leicester, let's break them down. Their midfield: Maddison, Tielemans, Ashley Barnes, all creative. It's not Ashley Barnes either. I can't remember his first name, but it's Barnes something. All creative players, all capable of beating a man, delivering a ball, shooting from range. Every single one of those players is creative in some capacity.
Yeah.
We literally, bar James, do not have that. And I know a lot of people will say, you forgot Gylfi Sigurdsson.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old. I'm not going to put him in the same bracket as a 24-year-old James Maddison, a 25-year-old Yuri Tielemans, a 22-year-old Barnes. I'm not saying he hasn't been good this season, but he's not going to be that player going forward. Maddison can not just pick up a ball and beat a man and score from 30 yards. He can do it at pace, whereas Gylfi Sigurdsson, absolutely no disrespect to him because he's had 14 goal contributions this season. He's done very well. He can't do that. Or he can't do it like he used to just because of his age, if you get what I mean. I'm not slagging him off, but just he isn't that man anymore. And we rely so much on our wingers. It's ridiculous. You know, we rely so heavily on Luca Dean to deliver a ball into the box. Imagine if Luca Dean wasn't our left back.
Exactly.
For me, we are screaming out for mega creative players, you know, and I'll throw you some names out of the current squad that I personally believe are very creative and we haven't necessarily seen too much of. Nils Unkonka.
Yeah.
Seamus Coleman, but as a winger rather than a defender, because I think as a winger, I think he is prepared to beat a man, deliver a ball, shoot from range. I think that was Coleman 6 years ago, if you get what I mean. So if you take the defending out of it, so he hasn't got to defend as much, then surely you've still got a decent attacker, if you get what I'm saying.
He scores goals as well, like last couple of seasons, hasn't he? He used to score goals. But I seriously think we need a right back. I don't think Holgate can play in that right back spot again, in my opinion. I think we need a Max Aarons, but everyone's been saying, oh, the price might be a bit too high. But listen, we bought Godfrey for like how much? 25 million.
20 million, yeah.
Look how improved under Carlo he's made out to be. Yes, he was a leader at Norwich, but I'm not trying to be funny, but I never heard of him when he came at Everton. I think he was like a panic bar, like a Wobie.
When I saw we signed Ben Godfrey, I was just I didn't give him much credit.
Yeah.
And this kid, in my opinion, I know he's just been called up to the England under-21 squad, and obviously I congratulate him for it. But this kid is more than good enough to play for England, full stop.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, the best English centre-back in the league right now. And I'll go up against any fan who can tell me different, because you can't tell me Maguire. You can't tell me Stones because he's not consistent enough when he's up against Diaz and Laporte. I'm not saying Stones isn't a good defender, but on consistently playing every week, doing everything right, pretty much game in, game out, Ben Godfrey has been absolutely phenomenal. And the rest of the team have let him down. You know, defensively at times, we've been caught. Michael Keane against Burnley had a shocker. You know, the first goal for Burnley, he plays a short pass into Tom Davies. Tom Davies has got to play up his backside. I don't know what I'm expecting Tom to be able to do. I don't know what, you know, Tom is trying to take the ball on to release the pressure. He loses the ball from a short pass, in my opinion, because there's not enough weight on the ball. It then goes out to the left-hand side, which is then crossed into the box, which Michael Keane then clears horrendously straight to the Burnley lad who scores. It was a bad game for Michael Keane. I'm not saying he's been bad all season. I'm just saying that game was bad. Yerry Mina's had his injury issues. Luca Dean's had his injury issues. We haven't got a right back, and we knew that in the summer.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed we didn't go and get one, to be honest. But there you go. You leave it there. We've had our injury issues in the middle of the park. Takore's now out. We've had Allen out for 10 weeks. Up front, we've had Dominic Calvert-Lewin injured. We've had Richarlison injured and get a red card and lose 3 games. Iwobi is literally like good for 5 games.
In and out.
Or awful for 5 games, good for 5 games. You know, you're not getting a consistent Iwobi. Sigurdsson's been all right as long as he plays more forward.
Better
if he
than
plays
last season.
Yeah. If he plays further back, he's not good enough. But to be honest, this whole Everton team still need more players, you know, and it's abundantly obvious we need better quality players. In the summer, for me, and we have been linked with the lad for the defender from AC Milan. Rigamoli, I think his name is, whatever. He's a leader. I think we still need a really creative midfielder, like a James Maddison, a Jack Grealish. We need one of those. How difficult is it going to be to get one? Very. I think we need at least one winger, if not 2. We need a right back in Max ARRONS. I'm still on the fence regarding Pickford. I appreciate he's had a few good games recently, but you don't all of a sudden go from being as poor as he is to as excellent as he has been and get away with it. I want to see consistency, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But even Pickford's now injured for 4 weeks. So I sort of feel like Everton are limping over the line here. And we've been so good at times this season. And we are in real danger of not finishing in Europe because of our home form being so bad.
Definitely.
If you could bring in, if you don't know the player, give me the positions. But if you could make 3 changes in the summer, what would they be?
Max ARRONS right back. I think that's a defo for me.
And by the way, I think that will happen. I'm convinced we'll sign Max ARRONS.
It's hard to say. maybe maybe like a left or right midfield. Probably like a Leon Bailey, but it depends how he gets on. Maybe we go for someone well better than Leon Bailey, like a Jack Grealish or someone. But the thing is, how are we meant to get him? Can Marcel Brands do his magic tricks and all that with Carlo? We don't know, but I want someone like a Jack Grealish, in my opinion. And probably a goalkeeper backup.
Okay, fair enough. So do you sign Robert Olsen?
It's hard because you want someone who wants to. You see, Olsen's done a really good job for pushing Pickford, hasn't he? I mean, Pickford's been really performing better when Olsen's keeping him the pressure. But the thing is with Olsen, how old is he now? Like 30, like Sigurdsson's age?
31.
Yeah. 6 million's a bargain, isn't it, in today's age? But is it really what we want in the long term, like you say? I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult. I also, and I'm just going to come on to it. I know I said this video would be 10 minutes, but you know what you're talking. You know what you're talking about, so it's good to have you on. What about Calvert-Lewin? What's your thoughts on Calvert-Lewin? I'll give you mine if you want, so it's not a loaded question. I think he's been really let down in the last, probably the best part of 15, 16 games this season. Partly because of the injuries Everton had and Carlo had to change the setup.
Yeah.
Especially when we lost Alan at first. But when we don't have James Rodriguez, Calvert-Lewin,
he's lost.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's because he's not good enough, but he's having to try and pick up the ball in positions you don't want your centre forward to be in. He's having to pull out. Yeah, he's having to drift. He's having to come short. And you notice when he's... There's a thing in football, and I can tell you this because obviously I'm not thin. So I'll just put this in perspective, right? When I used to play football and I was thin, if I wanted to do something, mentally I could do it because I wasn't mentally tired. I could still do it, even though my body might have been tired. You know, I've played 90 minutes, I'm knackered, it's gone to extra time. I could still do it. Whereas now, if I was to play 45 minutes, I'd be absolutely creamed. I'd be finished. I'd be done. And I wouldn't be able to concentrate straight. I wouldn't pick the right pass. I wouldn't do the right thing. And I just wonder if in a game situation when Calvert-Lewin's have to run around everywhere to try and get on the ball, I'm just wondering whether he's getting mentally tired, because we've seen him miss a few chances. We've seen him miss a few headers. We've seen him miss a few one-on-ones. Yeah. And maybe it's the mental fatigue rather than the physical fatigue. Do you get what I'm saying?
You know what? I get exactly what you're saying, because remember when he had that chance against Burnley with that header, he got in between the two defenders, but he couldn't finish that final third header. I totally agree with what you're saying there, Mike. It's just, I think, like I said, lost. He's lost without the creative player. James Rodriguez. We need someone. We need a replacement, because if we don't have a replacement, look at what we are now. We're finished. We're not finished in a way, but like we're not scoring goals. And look at our goal difference. This is an example. Look at our goal difference to the top six.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I haven't checked the table since Liverpool won last night, but I'm pretty sure we're not in the top six anymore. We're now 7th, aren't we? And Spurs are behind us. Now, obviously, I think this is going to be a huge, huge, huge push for Everton to try and get back in top six now. I think. I don't want to sound negative, but I think we are in real danger of finishing 8th, because I think Spurs are fairly in form. I could see them pushing us. I could see them finishing above us. I could see all of the teams above us and Spurs finishing above us.
Yeah.
Because I can't see Everton, 1, scoring enough goals, 2, creating enough chances, and 3, the home form is shocking.
It is.
One thing we haven't mentioned, and I don't like doing this.
Go on.
Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah.
Now, to a degree, Carlo Ancelotti has to play the cards that he's got. You know, he has to play his hand. But do you think Carlo's made some mistakes?
I think substitution-wise, yes. I think he's been bringing on players too late, in my opinion. I think he might be bringing players like not the players that we wanted to bring on, but like it's hard to say with Carlo because he knows what he's doing. He's always got plan A and B and C, hasn't he? I love him as a manager. Like, we'll never get a manager like him again. And he's fixing our football club eventually. Look how long it took Klopp, like 5 to 4 years. But he's only had a full season, and look what he's doing. He's already getting us in these top 6 positions and maybe push on for top 4. But, yeah, what's going to happen with Josh King? This is an interesting point, what I'm going to make. Would you sell Moise Kean for like 50, 60 million if PSG want to buy him for that amount of money? And maybe we go and sign Josh King. But the thing is with Josh King, he's like 5 million, 6 million, isn't he?
Yeah, so Josh King, so as far as I understand, in January, Everton paid £3 million for Josh King on a 6-month deal. Yeah. However, that deal expires in the summer, so he can leave as a free agent in the summer. So if Everton want to sign him, we've just got to offer him a good contract, and we've got to want him to. He's got to want to stay. Now, this is a player that's not getting any games. Like, he's not starting a single game. So, for me, why would Josh King stay at Everton? And equally, why do Everton want to keep him if he ain't playing? So, yes, I'd sell Moise Kean, but no, unless I see something from Josh King in the next 10 games, which is possible. I'm not saying he's a bad player. No, I don't sign Josh King.
He hasn't even played like a full first half because he's only played. How many minutes has he played? Under 45 minutes, defo.
He's the most minutes he's had in a game is 30. He come on at 60 minutes against Burnley, I think, or someone, and he did very little. And I'm not saying he's not a good player, but you can't expect someone to get match fit in the mentality if they're not playing games. And this is another thing. The decision to play Iwobi over him. I don't get that from Carlo. However, do I trust Carlo? Absolutely. So he gets away with it. You know, for me, Carlo Ancelotti pretty much gets away with anything this season.
Does.
He hasn't got the creative player he wants. He hasn't got the midfield he wants. He knew that they couldn't spend mega money last summer because they knew they couldn't. He did a really good job. But Everton still lack so much in the final third. It's really scary. Everton, in my opinion, need to sign 2 extremely creative players in the summer. One being a winger.
We can't always rely on DCL. We just can't.
And James. We've proven this season we can't rely on James. James is fantastic when he plays.
Yeah.
But he doesn't play. He doesn't play. I think he's missed 12 games this season, which these games are crucial. And he is our best technically gifted player, in my opinion. And missing him is awful. Don't get me wrong. I don't think every single game is for James Rodriguez because I think there's games where defensively we may need a different player in that position, to do a bit more tracking back and whatever. But we really miss him. And if we haven't got a replacement, or the replacement is Gylfi Sigurdsson, who has been fine, but finds himself being dragged out of position and us not attacking properly, then I want a replacement. And I don't just want one. I want a winger and I want a midfielder. So for me, I want Max ARRONS, I want a creative midfielder, and I want a very, 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 very good winger. And that's what I want. The rest I can live with. If there's a chance of getting a goalkeeper in like Donnarumma, then you absolutely take it. But if not, I'll probably let Pickford stay in goal pending the next 10 games of the season. Although the breaking news today is that he is now out for 4 weeks with a muscle injury. So we're gonna be seeing a lot more of Virginia.
It's hard to take, isn't it? We're relying on a under-20 freeze player now, aren't we? You see, Olsen, what's up with him? He's injured, or his fitness, or something like that.
I don't know. The problem is, I wouldn't say too much about Olsen just because of the ordeal him and his family went through the other night. I get why. Yeah, I get why he might not want to play. Do you get what I mean? But we need him. I mean, we absolutely need him more than ever. Like this could be the case of we want to sign you. So well, Alfie, that is all from me, mate. That I'm done. I'm finished. There's your questions. Anything to ask me?
Do you reckon we'll finish above Liverpool this season?
No. And the reason for that is I can't see Liverpool staying as bad as they are at home. I mean, they could.
For that long.
Yeah, I can't imagine it making it 7 games. I just can't. But can I see Everton continuing to be this bad at home? Yeah, I can. Because there's been so many games this season where I've kind of thought we've got lucky. Southampton at home.
West
Brom away. Southampton at home. Chelsea at home. Even Arsenal away. Arsenal at Goodison. Arsenal had tons of opportunities. Chelsea had tons of opportunities. West Brom should have been 4-1 up. We got battered, and we still managed to get 3 points. So, eventually, I think the luck will run out, and I think that's now. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
Do you reckon like 7th or 6th, or I reckon we'll finish 6th, but it depends if we change.
I think we'll finish 8th.
8th, really?
I think the league table will be as follows: Man City, Man United, Leicester, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, West Ham, Everton.
Yeah.
That's what I think the table will be, the top 8. And for us to go from 4th, 3rd, 1st at the start of the season, flying to 8th, it's an improvement on last season. So you take it. The injuries we've had, you take it, but it's very disappointing.
Yeah, because obviously we want to finish in Europe, and obviously we want to get top class signings. Don't get me wrong, we will still get top class signings under Carlo, but hopefully next season will be a new, improved Everton who can battle for top 4 every season, like Leicester. Leicester bottled it against United on the last day of the season. It's just mad to say how the Premier League works sometimes, because this season has been really, really interesting in some neutrals, obviously. But for us, at the start of the season, we were like 7 games unbeaten. We won all of our first games. Then during the middle of the season, we got injuries. How long has it been? When have we first played our full team? Was it like Liverpool at home or something?
Yeah.
It's mental.
I would say since we've had our very best starting 11 on the pitch, I would say Liverpool at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has been obvious, like blatantly obvious. You know, with the team that you start, Pickford in goal, Luca Dean, Godfrey. I'd play Mina over Keane personally. The right back position's a bit of a tetchy one, so I don't know about that. But obviously, them first 4 or 5 games, I think Coleman played right back. So say you put Coleman in there over Holgate, because I think that's where it's gone now. Midfield 2, Decore and Allen. Then you have Richarlison, Andre Gomez, and James Rodriguez, and Calvert-Lewin up front. I think that was pretty much the team that Carlo went for at the start of the season. I'm sure it was Gomez who came in alongside Allen and Decore.
4-3, wasn't it?
4-3-3, yeah.
4-3-3,
yeah. Yeah. We haven't had that team on that pitch consistently at all this season. You know, Luca Dean's had injuries, Mina's had injuries, Decore and Allen both had injuries. Richarlison's been out and had injuries and had a red card. Calvert-Lewin's had injuries. James Rodriguez has had injuries and got problems. Coleman is nowhere near the player he used to be. However, is he better than Holgate? Well, I'm struggling to argue with that right now. So, yeah, it's a long, long time since Everton have had their first 11. And do I think we score more goals with our first 11 on the pitch? Absolutely. I'm not scared of anyone.
Yeah.
But the team that we've got right now, we've players like Iwobi, Sigurdsson, Andre Gomez, Tom Davis, Bernard. Tom's done fine. Tom for me has justified why I was wrong. Certainly this season, you know, he is inconsistent, but he has been the best midfielder we've had in his recent games, and he's been subbed after 60 minutes every game.
Like, honestly, I said on my watch-alongs as well, why is Tom Davies getting subbed off? Because as soon as he gets subbed off, the game changes and they go with tackles and they score, don't they?
But even
when he's on the bench, he's in the Chelsea game, he came on and obviously he made an instant impact. Then ever since that instant impact, they go and attack, and they got a penalty and they scored from it. So just
I really think that, you know, like for example, if he wanted to change the midfield against Burnley, the person I bought off was Allen, because I thought Allen had his worst game in an Everton shirt against Burnley. Not that I'm criticising him; he's just come back from injury. But I would have subbed Allen off before Tom Davis. I would have subbed Andre Gomez off before Tom Davis. I didn't get it, but I've not got a lot of Carlo's substitutions. I've not got a lot of Carlo's starting 11s, and most of them have worked in his favour. But do I think he's got them all right? No, I don't. And I think when he's got more options, better options, then obviously those substitutions, those decisions, they'll be less wrong and they'll be more right. Do you get what I mean?
Look at City and Chelsea, look at their squad depth.
Well, their bench the other night had 179 Premier League goals and 300 appearances on the bench,
mental,
which is more than the entire Everton team. So it's a no-brainer. So definitely. Right, well, guys, thank you ever so much for watching. Obviously, the link for Alfie's channel is in the description below. Everton now. Make sure you subscribe to it. Yeah. Peace.
Very much appreciated for coming on, Mike, and thanks everyone for watching.
No worries at all, bud. Anytime. Speak to you soon.
See you later.